Welcome to the Mouse Pals podcast. I'm Andrew, and I'm here with my pal Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
This is a 30-minute show about all talk about Disney parks and properties, and we'll bring you the news and dive deep into the most interesting things about Disney and all things Disney related.
Welcome to part two of Mouse Pals coverage of Walt Disney World's reopening plan. We're going to give you a little recap of what we talked about last week and give you some updates, although it really hasn't been too much in terms of when people will be able to access the reservation system to enter the parks.
Yeah, there hasn't been too much news just to go over. Disney, along with SeaWorld and Universal a little bit before that, announced their reopening dates. Universal has actually passed, so they're reopened. Disney's still next month in July. They're the latest, but they presented before the Orlando government, saying outlining their plans to reopen and how they're going to make it safe. I definitely recommend everybody check out our last podcast, part one, to be able to really dive deep into it and go over maybe a little too much detail. We did that on last episode. Since then, the Orlando government, as well as the state, has approved Disney plans. So it looks like everything is going forth and looks like they're going to be opening in July.
Yeah, so let's talk about the new developments that we've heard about. Like I said before, there really isn't too much, but in terms of hotels and Disney Springs, we might be able to look at those, see what's going to happen at the actual parks.
Great, yeah. Like you said, it doesn't look like there's been too much, but just a little glimmer of information out there to see how everybody's addressing and what it's going to be like for those people, for those brave souls who get out and into the park early and see what it's like. So
yeah. So let's talk about the hotels here. I think one of the biggest news is that there's a possibility to actually enter the hotel. You need to have a reservation either to be staying or to be dining at one of its locations. It's not like you could just show up to the hotel like as people normally would do, as in maybe like a hotel tour, and just do some shopping there. No, it's likely that you'll need to actually have a reservation to either go have food or actually stay the night or to actually see the hotel. There's no hotel hopping.
Yeah, which is crazy news. It crazy 6 months ago. If you would have told me that, I'd have been like, "Why? That's silly." And obviously, it makes sense now. But just imagining that, couple of my favorite things to do was if you're in Epcot, you just go out to the boardwalk, go to the Boardwalk Hotel, or you go to Yacht Club and walk around because they're great atmospheres.
Yeah.
Now, in order to do that, you either have to have a room booked or you have to have dining.
No, it's usually after we're finished with our Epcot tour, we like to go over and just have a little slice of pizza or just go to the ESPN Center and just relax and wind down from a long day of drinking around the world, possibly.
That's right.
We don't advocate it, but it usually happens all the time.
That's right. Yeah, you get a little too far. That's great. We'll save that for another episode. But exactly, and so many different cool hotels that you go to really as an attraction, and that we're going to be missing in this case, which again we understand. But 6 months ago it would have been crazy. You would have told me that Disney doesn't want you to go in and maybe shop at some of those shops that they have. I would have been told you no, that's silly. But this is a brave new world that we're in.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we still have. The cases are rising in Florida. Granted, there's more testing, but let's talk about what's actually going to happen when someone actually has a reservation at the hotel.
Yeah, it looks like most services are going to stay the same. They're modifying and removing some services, at least for now. You're going to have truncated, shorter times to work out at the gym, do things that you would do at your hotel. There's going to be just generally less of those services, but they're actually not at this time offering for the foreseeable future. They're not offering dry cleaning and valet laundry service.
I would have missed that.
the fitness classes they're not going to have.
I'm also going to miss that.
Yeah, I don't take advantage of it too much when I'm at Disney, but nice to know that they're there. But I get not right now. Arcades, which I haven't been in a while, but
I do like that.
you like the arcades?
I do. I'm a
Yeah,
big video game player.
they're fun. But we won't be able to go in there. I guess there's just a lot of touching on those surfaces, a lot of high contact areas, as they call it.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any dog parks for those people who bring in their dogs. Do you know, Jeff, have you heard whether or not they're going to keep allowing animals in the hotels at Disney?
I haven't heard anything yet. I think they will, especially, obviously, service dogs.
Sure. Yeah.
But as far as dogs, there could be, they're not, according to the CDC or medical experts, they're not saying that they're dog-to-human contact that could spread the coronavirus. But I expect them to actually open up dog sitting and possibly other dog amenities. But I think you might have more information about the dog park.
Hopefully, yeah. I've always looked. I'll say that a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, they started allowing dogs in the hotel. Though you have to be there, you have to accompany it. You can't leave them unattended in the hotel room. But they do allow you to bring in the dogs. Though I'm not sure what the status of that is now in this environment. But we'll bring you that information. Also, they're limiting playgrounds. Makes sense. Beauty salons, spa services, in-room childcare, special classes and programs, as well as valet parking, except for those guests with disabilities, which I know a lot of people take advantage of the valet parking. And so we'll see. It's obviously for both cast member safety as well as the safety of its guests to minimize contact with those foreign objects, people that you just haven't been around, that you don't know.
Totally understandable.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot of the hotel or bus service and transportation service from the hotels to the parks are going to be limited. So if you're going to be one of those first people there, make sure to plan accordingly and give yourself plenty of time for anticipated waits because there's going to be fewer people allowed on the bus to accommodate social distancing as well as just longer waits in general.
Yeah, I know we usually take the bus, especially if there's a lot of us, but I could see us taking individual cars to the parks, or maybe even taking one of those minivans or even a Lyft or Uber over. But of course, you got to wear your mask in those rides too.
Exactly. No. It's just a general. Frankly, I don't know. I think that I'd probably trust the Disney to clean their buses more than I would trust a Uber drivers. And then you just don't know the Uber driver, and that Disney has some thought about at least, and hopefully executed on sanitation or cleaning plans. But again, I think the safest route is just to go in your own car.
Yeah, no offense to those rideshare operators. However, we're just not aware of those plans, those safety plans that are in place.
Exactly. And I'm sure there are many ride-sharing drivers who do clean their their cars very well, but you just don't know. Also, so local news from the local union, 737 union, are being brought back, and that union's the food service cast members. They work, and they're going to be brought back to select locations across property. And it's really interesting to look at the list because that's where that's where you're seeing Disney's plan in action and what they figure is going to be the more populated, the more in-demand services as things reopen. And I'd say that some of the notable locations are going to be the Abracadabra Bar at the Boardwalk, Crockett's Tavern at Disney Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, the Enchanted Rose.
I still have to get to visit.
The Grand Floridian. You have not been there?
That when they transformed it from just a regular lounge, and then they they changed it to the Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Rose Lounge now.
Oh, that's right. I haven't been there either. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, when everything opens back up and everything's safe again. And lastly, there's going to be things at the Polynesian Resort. So no word on Trader Sam's, but we'll see. Also, Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar at Disney Springs are bringing back bartenders.
That's one of my favorite places.
Yeah, it's Jock. We'll have to again talk about that. Well, I'd love to spend an episode on that, but
I think
Jock
we'll have to.
It's a great place. It really is. I'm looking forward to being back there too. Let's see. They're bringing back some bars at Magic Kingdom, as well as food handlers across the theme parks. Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge Resort, the cocktail servers, food handlers, and bartenders are all coming back. Disney's Contemporary Resorts, the staff at the pool bars and the Lake Tower bars, or the Bay Lake Tower bars are coming back. Let's see. Disney's Old Key West Resort, the staff at the Gurgling Suitcase are going to be back. Disney's Riviera Resort, which I have not been to. We've had, I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks like a lovely resort.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I think they have a lot of meeting rooms, and it's a good place that you want to show off at.
Yeah, and it looks new. I'd love to get on top of that bar on top of the hotel, looking kind of near the Caribbean Resort. I don't know. Have you been on those gondolas yet?
No, I haven't. I thought you have.
I love them. I absolutely love the gondolas. I say that's one of my top favorite rides and transportation methods, though it's really limited as far as the places that you go, but it almost makes me want to stay at either the Caribbean Beach or the Riviera where there's a stop. All those places. It's just such an easy way to just hop right on, and every time I've been there, it hasn't been too much of a wait. I think the first weekend has been great, but
yeah, that might change too. I haven't heard any news about that, so we'll see about the gondolas. Are they going to have to clean it down, each and every person?
Yeah, that's true. Are they going to wipe that down? Everything's just a crazy time. But aside from that, that's a little bit of a tangent that we went on. Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort, the staff at the pool bars are being called back. Disney's Wilderness Lodge Resort, the cast members at Geyser Point. And lastly, the Yacht and Beach Clubs resorts, the bartenders at Martha's Vineyard is being called back.
Well, that's good. It seems like every hotel at least is going to have something open for their guests to stay and drink at. So I think that's something to look forward to.
Exactly, and like we said, those are going to be open only right now to those people who have reservations, either dining or hotel reservations to stay there.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Yeah. What about Disney Springs? Any news about Disney Springs, Jeff?
Yeah, Disney Springs started, I guess, last month doing their phases of reopening. A lot of places really didn't initially open when Disney gave the okay to reopen the entire Disney Springs. But as of this point of June 10th, a lot of the restaurants and the stores and experiences have opened. Mm-hmm. We're talking about Candy Cauldron just opened, Star Wars Outpost, Disney Style, Pin Traders, Ever After Jewelry, House of Blues, Wine Bar George is one of the first ones to open. The new Wolf King Puck Restaurant, Guy Fieri's Chicken Guy, Boathouse. I think the tally is, as of now, is 104 shops and 64 restaurants.
Okay, yeah, that's getting to be most of them open. Do you know if they're allowing? I assume there's some sort of a limitation on attendance and people going in, but do you know how they're dealing with that?
Yeah, right outside they have. Most places they have queues to actually get in line to actually go inside and to a certain capacity, which I think at this point it's 50% capacity at restaurants and bars. So you're going to be waiting outside, preferably 6 feet apart, social distancing, and then get a number to basically wait in a queue, possibly a virtual queue. They might get your phone number and then text you when you'll be able to get inside the particular store or restaurant. Yeah, that's how it's going to go.
Huh. Well, I have to say I may skip that until the fall because there is nothing I'd rather not do than roast in the Florida sun
That's
in
correct.
July and August, waiting outside in line. And I love Disney Springs. I love the restaurants, love the bars. The shopping is okay, but it is. I'll be waiting until fall for that.
Yeah, I agree with you there, because you'll be waiting in one place and then you would try to you can't like go wait in a store because you have to wait in another queue to get in that store.
Exactly.
So it's not like you're going to be able to go wait in the AC while waiting for another opportunity to join a restaurant or enter a restaurant or a store.
Exactly. And gosh, I hope the restaurants survive. I mean, they're all great. So hopefully that everything survives and they can just manage through and limp through until hopefully we get a vaccine soon, when we can get back to full attendance.
Yeah, that's our only hope basically right now.
Yeah. What about
What are
the AMC theaters? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, one of the most notable things is AMC is not going to be opened anytime that we know about it. There's no set date.
Really?
AMC actually has stated to, I think, CNBC and to other press agencies saying that they may not ever open again.
Wow, that's awful. That's just sad. That especially the Disney Springs locations, those AMC theaters. I love one of my favorite things, and yeah, Sophie, anything. I love movies. Love going to the movie. I haven't been as much, and I think that's the same with a lot of people. But that AMC theater where you just go and you can get food ordered to you, a lot like Cinebistro in Tampa, but the AMC Theaters has it there. I just love that experience.
Yeah, it's a fun experience to dine and watch a movie option.
Yeah,
it's really a good time. Yeah, there's something about a theater experience that we're missing right now. Just be able to enjoy a good movie amongst people around you with the shared experience.
Exactly, with friends, shared laughs, because it makes it funnier when there are other people laughing there too. You saw Endgame at that theater, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Great theater, great, a lot of good times. Boy, that's just sad. Anything else about Disney Springs?
Well, some other things like the food trucks have opened up. It's really just outdoor dining, basically. So it's really basically about it. Almost all of it's open, ready to go. Granted, there's some changes, but this isn't unusual, and everyone obviously still has to wear a mask at this point.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Have you seen those the social distancing stormtroopers at Disney Springs? Have you seen videos of that?
I've seen pictures, and they seem to be very intimidating, depending on what side of the law you're on.
That's right. Hopefully, you're not one of the rebels, the resistance. But
that's right.
But it is funny. They're sitting there, I think, in the shopping area and just making sure that everybody is adequately social distancing. I think we forecasted last week that they would have the social distancing police and social distancing force, and that they do it in a Disney way. And this is one of those ways. They have some two stormtroopers sitting up there dictating, telling people to make sure that they are moving and that they are adequately spaced.
Yeah, they're only here to help. It seems like
that's the Empire, They're never.
That's right.
They can't do anything wrong. Jeff, do you want to move on and then maybe talk a little bit about the official reopening statement from Disney?
Yeah, let's talk about that. I think the biggest concern is that Florida still has a policy of a 2-week quarantine from New York or New Jersey or Pennsylvania, which is the tri-state area up there. You have to quarantine for 2 weeks before you can actually get out to the parks. Will that change when it comes to Disney actually reopening the parks? We'll see.
Interesting. That I heard about that policy. It's kind of crazy. Of course, that area is still counts for all. I think it's like 50% of all the COVID cases. And so,
of course, we get a lot of those visitors down from the tri-state area coming on the East Coast to Disney World.
That's right.
I was one of them.
Yeah, and they come. They pay money and they pay good tourism money, which is great for the Florida economy. So hopefully we'll have them back. But I certainly understand the policy that required it. What I wonder how it works is you have your 2-week quarantine, and I guess that's self-imposed or self-policed. But then you have to get on a plane, go to an airport or something like that, and then travel down here where you're exposed again, right?
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of other people trying to join us, you have any news on that?
Yeah, Jeff. So, I think many people have know this. This isn't hidden news, but the NBA and the MLS are going to be coming to the ESPN Wide World of Sports to restart and complete their seasons, which is interesting, very, very interesting. I wonder how that all went down and how they negotiated that. But I guess that both those sports leagues figured that Disney was a good place to do it, and that Disney had the Wide World of Sports, and that center was the best place to do it.
Yeah, it seems like a little mini Olympic city going on there at Disney World. Do you know if any of the NBA or MLS players will be able to visit Disney World?
That I do not know.
Well, I have that.
Oh, good. Well, what do you know? I don't know, Jeff. Do you know that?
Well, I got some extra news about that. NBA players, and I'm not sure about MLS players. NBA players will not be able to attend the parks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about them cutting you in line and having to fight them off about it. So
yeah, I think I would avoid fighting them off in any way, but
yeah, that's right.
That is a shame. I wonder where they're going to be staying. I wonder if they're staying.
I think they have them out in the select few hotels, maybe 3 of them. They're all going to be staying there. They're going to get tested nightly to see if they're going to, if they have the COVID. So it's an NBA issue. As far as the MLS players, not sure if they're going to be able to attend the parks. Probably not, especially probably not Alex Morgan, since she got kicked out, possibly banned.
That's right.
Just kidding. I'm sure she just got kicked out.
Yeah, referring to what was it last fall? MLS player, she got kicked out for what I was a little sympathetic for her, because I probably have gotten a little too rowdy at night at Food and Wine, but she got a little bit too rowdy, a little too drunk, and they kicked her out, right?
Yeah, it happens. At Home Blame her.
Yeah. Though I've seen a lot worse, and really I've seen a lot worse that haven't gotten kicked out. So I wonder just how bad she was.
Yeah, I've probably been a lot worse.
Well, I know. Do you have any more hotel news, Jeff?
Well, as far as the other hotels, like the Swan and Dolphin, they won't be opening up until the end of July. Other places in Lake Buena Vista are not going to be able to be opened up until sometime in July as well. So.
Okay. And I'll say that after looking at it, the Universal and SeaWorld actually are starting to reopen. Universal's already reopened right now. Don't want to touch on it too much because this is a Disney podcast, but I think that everybody's looking at these, and Disney too, to see how they can learn from the situation, how they can learn from what Universal Studios does right and what it's done wrong so far. But apparently, even though the soft opening was pretty busy, it's been pretty light. The crowds.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I think everybody's just scared. It's understandable. I think I'm going to be too. I'm going to be waiting a while to return to the parks as much as I want to.
Same here.
Yeah, so it's there no lines, no lines for parking, temperature checks, or security checks right now. Though there were places, there have been reports that a lot of people were bunched together in the popular areas like Hogwarts and Diagon's Alley.
Those are already tight places to begin with.
Yep, exactly. Part of the good ambiance when there isn't a pandemic, but a lot of people packed closer than 6 feet, which is concerning. I'm sure Disney's watching that, trying to think of how to address that. And I know SeaWorld has gotten some kinks in their reservation systems that they haven't worked out. Pass holders that have had their tickets expired aren't being able to get back in. Some pass holders at SeaWorld get complimentary guest tickets. They haven't been able to get those. So,
it's a mess.
It is a mess. And hopefully Disney's working out those kinks, but you have to expect there'll be something.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, do you want to start talking about park news?
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, there isn't too much news about how or when we're going to be able to enter the parks. But we have some idea of what the queue system could be to actually enter the parks. I know a lot of people for the Rise of the Resistance are familiar with being able to reserve their admissions to the actual rides through their phone, through their app, once they're in a certain location. And we could probably see that the same way, especially for the rides. As far as entering the parks, we could probably see an online reservation system beforehand. Will that be flooded? Probably. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Will certain people get priority? Absolutely. Probably people like Disney Vacation Club members, annual pass holders, people that actually have tickets, and maybe even hotel stays will get priority first, as opposed to those who could buy tickets the day of. But of course, people are not able to buy tickets the day of for right now, and that could change, who knows, in the next couple of weeks.
That's interesting. It's interesting to watch this thing evolve.
Yeah, and the park hours will be shorter because of the actual cleanup. Disney does a great job of cleaning up. It's one of the cleanest parks I've seen, but they need more time to basically clean up contact points, door handles, doorknobs. Of course, a lot of them be converted possibly to electronic opening doors.
Yeah, that's interesting. Which I think is good. Like you said, that all makes sense. Since there'll be less people there anyway, hopefully, I think that they'll be able to take advantage of the time that they have, even though it's less.
Yeah, and also probably no build your own droids in Star Wars Land, which I know would probably upset a lot of people, even probably Disney themselves. They made a lot of money off those droids.
I have to imagine that they do, right?
That would have been me. However, they could possibly have a pick and choose, and the part would be brought out to you instead of having that big conveyor belt where everyone gets to touch everything and then put everything back on the conveyor belt. So you might be able to pick out each item individually and assemble their droid if they actually have.
Yeah, they're losing out on some money there, but I can understand it's a high contact, high touch area.
But that's really about it for the parks. I think we'll have to talk about in the future, in our future podcast, about the actual when and how the reservation system will be going on. Maybe have to dedicate a special episode to it. However, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. I think so. I think that's something to look forward to. And as things work themselves out, I'm sure things aren't fully developed right now, but as people go in, as people do the soft openings and take advantage of that, we can see how everything works out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And before we go, I just saw an interesting article talking about Disney earnings, and there was some Wall Street analyst. He was trying to report on Disney and what the forecast will be, because the theme parks make up such a substantial portion of the business. It was interesting. His lab actually employed some sort of tool that analyzed satellite imagery of Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom, concluding that the current guidelines that they've issued and that they discussed last week and we were talking about, it'll limit capacity to about 40% of the average park's attendance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or 25% of peak attendance, the highest levels of attendance. And so that was interesting. So that's maybe something to think about, because that's probably around, according to this guy, what it's going to be at least when it starts out, what the attendance is going to be. He also said that there'd be a mix, and that mix of who would be going in first would be probably pass holders, which, according to him, spend a little less, but that's good for us because we're pass holders. Though, like we said, it might be a little while before we return, as well as in-state, the Floridians coming into the park because they're closer to the park.
Correct.
And like other analysts and like we've discussed before, I think it might take more than a year to return to pre-COVID levels. I think that might even be a little ambitious. He thinks that September, that quarter, will be roughly 25% of what it was in 2019, which is just absolutely astounding to think about.
Yeah, it's crazy. This whole thing's crazy.
Yeah. Well, with that, do you have any closing thoughts for this episode, Jeff?
No, we'll just try to bring you the news as it comes. Might take a little bit longer to get out to you, considering that we haven't heard anything yet, but hopefully very soon we'll hear more information about how we're going to be able to get into the parks and when.
That's right.
To make the reservations.
Yeah, that's right. We'll bring it to you. We'll bring you the news when we can, and then we'll get back to our normal discussions and deep dives into the parks and the rides and what we just love about Disney.
That's right.
All right, with that, everybody have a good day. Remember to rate us if you're here already. Hopefully, rate us 5 stars because that helps us get discovered and helps bring more listeners in so that we can keep on doing this, and rate us on our Facebook page too.